and welcome this Thursday night. Another live edition coming into your bedrooms, your bathrooms, your living rooms, your sheds, your greenhouses, your jacuzzis, wherever you're watching us. Thank you for joining us on quite a mild Thursday evening. Back in the studio this week, and before I start the show tonight, I just really want to put a plea out there. It's really just to say that we are a group of volunteers doing this, trying to get some sports out there in the domain in our county. There's so many fantastic sportsmen and women in this county, and we want to showcase any sport possible. So if anybody is a roving reporter or a roving cameraman, please do get in contact with us, because we could certainly use your expertise and skills in joining the team here at Oxsports Unleashed. You can email us at our normal address, which is oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. So that's my first plea of the evening. My second plea of the evening is, please, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, certainly Facebook, go across to our YouTube channel and subscribe, hit like and notification button, and then you'll never miss another episode of almost the #1 show for Oxfordshire sports in our county. There you go. See, that's a new plug there from me there. As you will notice, our sick note, Mr. Bushnell, is not with us again tonight. He's feeling poorly. We wish him all the best for a speedy recovery, and hopefully he'll be back, or not hopefully, he'll be back in the studio next week on Thursday. So got Patrick Locke back in the hot seat. Welcome, Patrick.
Quite regular here now, aren't I?
You're becoming a regular, 2 weeks running.
I know, yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Different location this week, though. Back in the studio. So all good, isn't it?
It's all good. There's quite a few things you're not looking forward to tonight. What might you be looking forward to?
Everything else but the football.
Everything else but the football, yeah. I thought you might say that. Yeah. It's over to you, Patrick. I'll let you introduce them.
Yeah, so we do start with the football, as we always do in Oxford City. And a big push for survival, really, and every game's a big game, must-win game at the moment, and it was a trip to Dagenham and Redbridge on Saturday. I don't really want to give the score away, but
don't give it away.
I think I'm going to try and find a chair to hide behind before these highlights come on.
It's like Doctor Who, hide behind this, sofa, isn't it?
Yeah, so we'll show you the highlights, and I think there's an interview with Ross Jenkins afterwards.
Up the table, but that is a twitch. But here come the hosts again. Effie Young's inside the box, takes a touch, gets it past Croker, pulls it across the box. This has got to be 1-0, and it is 1-0 already. Dagenham have the lead, and it's Ryan Hill with the goal. Too easy in the end for the Daggers.
It's with Samling on that far touchline into Josh Rees. Rees forced a little bit wide by his counterpart Rees Fleet. Pereira into Hessenthaler. Hessenthaler's got a bit of space to run into. He then finds Frank Vincent, and a fantastic goal from Frank Vincent. A brilliant strike, 25 yards out. Marcin Brzozowski clutching at thin air. So I wasn't far out there. 2 minutes of stoppage time to go, and we're into that now here at Victoria Road. Effiong running onto a long through ball. Brzozowski momentarily comes from his line. Effiong still with a chance, and it's a fantastic goal! Another really good goal, and it's Inni Effiong.
Claw something back, maybe a bit of pride, maybe, but we are back underway here at Victoria Road, and now Dagenham in their home shirts of red and blue shirts, blue shorts, blue socks, shooting from left to right towards their fans behind the goal now against Oxford City, and there's an early chance here for Effiong to get the half going again for the host. Now over to Pereira, into Effiong, chance here for Dagenham, it's a goal. It's taken them 40 seconds to score their first goal of the second half. It's Effiong again. They have what they have, and they've got to be better with what they've got, but although they've conceded after 40 seconds, they've started to bring the game to Dagenham since then. Perhaps a little bit too late, but there's Burley, plays the ball in behind, looking for Williams-Bichelle, crossing across goal, and City do have a goal back, and it's a great goal actually. It's 49 minutes on the clock, and it's Jacob Roddy who scores his first goal in senior football. Right, and I think the most angry person in the whole stadium will be the Dagenham manager Ben Strevens, because it looked like a nailed-on clean sheet, but here come Dagenham again. Effiong, who's on a hat-trick, but darts for the byline. It could be another goal, And as soon as City score, Dagenham regain their 4-goal advantage. While here today, it's Dagenham 5, Oxford City 1 here on BBC Sounds. And Dagenham have a throw into the box, flicked across and not dealt with, and that's a brilliant goal! Wow, what a goal by Dagenham and Redbridge.
Really good defending from Keenan Appiah-Forson, and then a ball out to the right hand side to the substitute Kedwell. Kedwell gets the ball across. City haven't cleared their lines, and it is 7-1. And again, it was so easy.
You're right there, Patrick. You can come out from behind your hands now.
Is it finished?
Yeah, it has finished. It has finished. As you can see, Dagenham and Redbridge ran out 7-1 winners.
However bad a day it was, there were some good goals, weren't there?
There were some really good goals. The overhead kick and some in the top corners as well, which was fantastic to see.
It's just one of those days, I think, where everything they took just seemed to go in the top corner, I think. So.
I think it would be interesting. I won't spoil it from a Lyon and Ryde point of view, but Paul Lyon mentions the side that they put out is quite interesting, so stay tuned for that. Also stay tuned tonight. We're going a different sport. We try and bring different sports. We've brought different sports to you every week, and we're bringing another one tonight on Ox Sports Unleashed in Padel tennis, where we'll have a little delve into that and what that has to offer around Oxfordshire and beyond. We also have an interview with one of Oxfordshire's finest, George Sandbach, so he'll be with us very shortly. So this sort of takes us quite nicely on to our normal segment of our firm of solicitors. You're on the screen again for not very long tonight though, Patrick, because there's not many games to report on.
No, it's a bit of a washout, wasn't it? Not quite a total washout though, was it?
It wasn't. So we'll hand you over to the 3 degrees, Lyon and Ryde.
Hello and welcome to Lyon and Ryde with Patrick Lock. Hi Patrick.
Hi Colin.
And hi Paul Lyon.
Hi Colin.
Right, and I'm Colin Ryde. So while the sun did shine last Saturday, the weather during the previous week was absolutely atrocious, bad enough to wipe out most of local fixtures last Saturday, including Banbury United at home to Russell Athletic. And if you're not convinced about the flooding at Banbury United, take a look at their Twitter feed, because there's a picture of someone actually windsurfing in the centre of the Banbury United pitch. No games also for Kidlington and Tame United, who were due to host local near neighbours North Lee. But in this club's statement, it wasn't just the weather that was against North Lee. They said, "We have unfortunately received confirmation from the FA that due to ground grading requirements, we will not be eligible for promotion this season." We conveyed this to the first team players last week, who are understandably disappointed due to their amazing performances so far this season. The players who have decided to move on, we thank them for all their efforts and wish them all the best for the future. For those that remain, we thank you for sticking by us during these challenging times and look forward to building a sustainable club in the future. So, Paul, you know a little bit about ground regulations and promotion and what's required. Give us a brief summary of the sort of challenges that a team get when they get promoted, Paul.
Yes, at each level you go up, each step you go up, it changes. So, for example, with Oxford City, when we went to the National League, we have to get our ground ready for the Football League. Even though we're not in the Football League, as soon as we go to the National League, we have to be ready for the next jump up. And we've got until March of the year to get it right. If we don't achieve the minimum standard by March, then we're not allowed to go up, even if we ended up being in the playoffs or winning the league. Obviously, that's not going to happen this year because of our current position, but it's one of the requirements. And one of the problems is with the rules of the league, if you do achieve a promotion and you are refused because your ground's not good enough, you don't only fail to gain the promotion, you also get relegated as well. So you end up with a 2-division penalty. Yeah. So, for example, in Oxford City's case, if we finished top of the National League, we wouldn't go into League Two, but we would drop back to the National League North or South. as a punishment for not having our ground ready. And the whole reason for that is because the National League want to preserve the 2 up, 2 down that there is at the moment between the Football League and the National League, and anything that jeopardises that isn't good for the National League. And if you think back to 20, 30 years ago, Altrincham were regular winners of the old Vauxhall Conference as it was in those days, but they could never go into the Football League because their ground wasn't good enough. And for teams like us at Oxford City, what we have to do is our first task is to make the capacity 4,500, which is basically add 1,000 on, put in at least 2,000 of that has to be undercover. We have to have 700 seats in total with 200 for the away fans, more turnstiles, 8 turnstiles minimum, larger dugouts for all the extra subs, because in the National League next season, there's going to be 7 subs. 5 from 7 can be selected next season in the National League, so you have to have bigger dugout to fit them all in, and stronger floodlights. So there's a whole load of things at Oxford City's level, and as you go further down the pyramid, you have equal types of improvements you need to make depending on where you go. And I guess with North Lee, they've had a similar issue where they haven't got enough undercover, they haven't got enough seats, maybe their floodlights are not strong enough. So in order to get to the next level now, there's a new set of regulations in there. And a lot of it's to do with safety, because we've seen quite a lot of crowd trouble even at those levels of football, haven't we? So they're trying to make the grounds much safer for everybody, and hence it's harder to get to where you need to get the ground to.
Right, so of the games that did survive, Oxford United had an away trip to Blackpool, and Paul, a 1-1 draw away would probably be okay if United's home form was better.
Yeah, that's the 3rd draw in a row for United now, isn't it? They've drawn with Portsmouth and Reading in the last few weeks, and now Blackpool. So I thought the result was a fair result. Blackpool were just behind United, and a loss would have been terrible because it would have really brought Blackpool that much closer. But United are still on the edge of the playoffs. And they've got Wigan at home coming up, which they would expect to win. So they're still within touching distance, but at least they're not losing, which is the important thing. And what they've got to do now is start putting the ball in the net and getting 3 points on the board. Otherwise, they're going to start losing touch. But I'm still hopeful that United will be able to make the playoffs.
All right, so United went behind on 18 minutes, but the U's on-form striker Mark Harris equalised 3 minutes later to bring a point back from United's visit to the Seaside. And Paul, over an equalising goal, even a point for Oxford City, Paul.
Yes. What do you want me to say about Oxford City?
Well, I suppose let's go to Patrick now, because Patrick, you made the trek with the Oxford City faithful to Dagenham Redbridge, and I've got to ask you this, because when 7 minutes of additional time, the extra full 90 came up, I thought, oh dear me. And I've got to ask you this: did you stay to the absolute bitter end of that game, or did you decide you'd had enough and go home for an early pint and an early bath?
No, you've got to stick to the bitter end, haven't you? And I think to every single fan's credit, I don't think there's a single person that left early, which is remarkable in that situation. Because I think if you were 3-0 down, and actually I think it happened on Sunday, didn't it? At the just up the road at West Ham, didn't it? Where 3-0 down at half time, and there were streams of people leaving. So no, to our credit, I think we all stayed, but I think when that 7 showed on the board, I think we just all wanted to go home and to stop the punishment at that point.
And Paul, just to make absolutely certain, you had a load of youth team players there, and how many changes did you have to make from the game away at Woking?
Yeah, so Woking on the previous Tuesday was a bit of a nightmare. We lost Canis Carroll and Josh Parker from that team, which is 2 of our most experienced players, and we had 6 changes from that squad. And we had 7 players on Saturday who were 20 or younger on the pitch at the start. That's a really young team and not very much experience at that level. And we're playing against a full-time professional team that have been in the Football League. It was always going to be tough. And we had young Philip Croker on, who's 16 years of age, and it's a bit of a baptism of fire for the poor lad. And I think it was a bit of a wake-up call for some of them. You're not really as good as you think you are. It's you think you've been doing well in the development team, but this is big boy football now in the National League. It's tough, and it's we've been saying it now most of the season. We've been so unfortunate with injuries, but maybe we need to start looking at ourselves, how we're running the squad, and because we've suffered from all the way back from August, we've been getting injuries constantly. We get players coming back from injury and then someone else goes out injured. Poor old Zach McEachran's on crutches at the moment. It's been an absolute nightmare, and I don't know what the issue is. We're looking at it at the moment to see is there a reason behind it. One thing's for certain, it's not the 3G pitch at Oxford City. Most of our injuries are coming on grass, but and also in training. But it's just one of those things, in football. We were really lucky last season that we managed to keep the squad together, and we almost put the same 11 out week in, week out, didn't we? With an odd change here and there. This season we haven't been able to do that, and it's been showing in the performances, because it's been really hard to recognise the Oxford City style when we're playing. Last season you could see when we were on the pitch, this is the Oxford City style, passing the ball around, nice press. But this season our style has been varied, it's been unpredictable, and we've been too easy to play against, and we've let a lot of goals in. And it's really unfortunate that our first season at this level, we haven't been able to put up a better show. And especially is the fact that, back in October, we were mid-table and we were on a 7-game unbeaten run, and it was looking so good. But that since we started to get more and more injuries, and of course the loan players going back, it's just been so difficult. And I think that's sort of a sign of where we are as a club compared to most of the other teams in our league, because our budget is the smallest and we are at bottom for a reason.
Yeah, so still bottom of the National League. Meanwhile, Didcot Town did get a point away at Harrow Borough. And here's Patrick Lott to tell us a bit about that game and how the women's team did as well at the weekend. Patrick.
Yeah, it was another weekend really that was decimated by the weather conditions, really, but not quite as bad as a few weeks ago when we had a complete washout of the fixtures. So we'll have a quick look at what did actually happen. And like I said, it's a bit of a thrilling draw at the bottom of the Southern League Premier South, with Didcot drawing 3-3 at Harrow Borough. Harrow went 2-0 up early on, but a fine Patrick Osborne strike and 2 Adam Leroyd headers saw the Railwaymen lead 3-2 at the break, but were left with going home with just a point when the hosts equalised in the second half. So all the games in the Southern League Division 1 Central all fell foul of the rain, but there was a few games at Step 5 and 6. One game in the Combined Counties League Premier as Ardley United took on Virginia Water, but this was abandoned after a serious injury to Ardley's Alfie Talbot, the goalkeeper. Thankfully, Ardley have since tweeted that he's been released from hospital with no major injuries, but obviously, of course, wish him all the best in his recovery from that injury. There was a little bit of Step 6 action with Long Crendon, the big winners of the weekend. They beat Southam United 4-0 in Hellenic Division 1. Abingdon United were the only other game in that division as they lost 3-1 away at FC Stratford. There was one game in the Oxfordshire Intermediate Cup and semi-final on Saturday as Headington Amateurs took on Easington Sports Development. It was 2-2 after the full-time whistle, but Headington Amateurs came out 5-4 winners in a penalty shootout there to book themselves in the final of that competition. So on Sunday, there was a big match at the top of the Women's National League South as leaders Portsmouth took on third place Oxford United, but the leaders beat United 5-1 at the Royal Charging Stadium to end United's good spell of form. Tash Stevens got the goal for United there. There was no game for Oxford City women even, but Abingdon United were winners in the National League Division 1 with a 3-0 win against Southampton. So they sit fourth in that division, while Oxford United women's defeat saw them drop to fourth in the Women's National League South. United's men still sit seventh in League 1 after a third successive draw, while City still bottom of the National League and unfortunately dropping a little bit adrift at the moment. Banbury United remained 17th in National League North after their game was postponed, as we heard earlier about that very waterlogged pitch. Didcot Town remain bottom of Southern League Premier South after their point, which didn't really help either side in their battle for survival there. Southern League Division 1 was unchanged really due to the washout, so Northleigh 2nd, Kidlington 17th and Tame 18th. So coming up this weekend, Oxford United, they've got a derby game actually just down the M40. They face Wycombe Wanderers at Adams Park. Oxford City hosts a huge game with Southend United visiting Oxfordshire, and I can actually say that this week as a bit of a blooper last week when I was a week ahead of myself. Banbury United, they travel to Buxton in the National League North, while Didcot Town host Beaconsfield in the Southern League Premier. There's no game for Northleigh on Saturday, but Tame United travel to Leighton Town and Kidlington travel to Dunstable Town in the Southern League Division 1 Central. Well, it's County Cup action on Sunday as Oxford United Women host Tame United Women, while Oxford City face Oxford University in that competition. So that's what's coming up for you, Connor, and back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick and Paul Lyon. I'm Colin Ryde, and with a nod to the President of the United States, Joe Biden's recent problems, I'll hand back to two elderly, well-meaning gentlemen with poor memories for much more Ox Sports Unleashed.
So that brings us quite nicely to our usual segment of Lock, Lyon and Ryde. Oh, hang on a minute. Have we just done that one? We haven't we? Sorry. Our thanks to the 3 Degrees, our famous listeners, Lock, Lyon and Ryde, for their normal roundup of not much football around our county due to the wet weather last week. You may have a point about us forgetting having poor memories. I don't know.
Say, to be honest.
That takes us nicely to our next segment, which I'm quite excited about because I know absolutely nothing about. So I'm going to be learning as much as I possibly can about the sport of paddle tennis. We've got a guest tonight in George Sandbach, who's played quite high-level racket sports previously, and he'll give us a little bit of insight into paddle tennis and how you can get involved in Oxfordshire as well, and all things paddle basically. But I'd like to show you a couple of clips first, and this is give you a brief introduction to the sport that is trending worldwide, paddle tennis.
Padel, or paddle tennis, is one of the fastest growing sports in the world and has similarities to both tennis and squash. Padel is usually played on a 10 by 20 metre court with walls on all 4 sides, and whilst the equipment seems similar to that used at Wimbledon, there are some differences. The rackets are stringless and the balls are slightly smaller than those used in tennis, and serves can only be underarm, but the scoring system remains the same. Studies showed that padel popularity grew massively during the pandemic, as the game could be played outside and didn't involve physical contact, and the International Padel Federation is campaigning for the sport to be in the Olympics for the 2032 Summer Games in Brisbane. The sport is mainly played in Spain, with padel being the second most popular participation sport after football, whilst in the UK the number of padel courts quadrupled from 2019 to 2022. Back to you, Woodsy and Kdog, with our padel expert, George Sandbach.
Our thanks to Wes Spearman there for a quick rundown of paddle tennis, our social media guru. Wes, thanks for that. That was a good little piece. But as the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that Patrick has moved out of the hot seat and we've been joined by George Sandbach. George, welcome. Thanks for coming in to see us on a Thursday night. Just tell us where your love of paddle tennis has come from and your previous history in racket sports.
Sure, Woodsy. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure.
So, you know, but not many people do know, I used to play a lot of rackets, sports with rackets. Played in some schools around the country and a bit in America and Canada. Did that for a few years, was a professional in Montreal and then in Manchester for a while, and then I changed career. However, I still love my sport, playing cricket and rugby around the county as well. About 2.5 years ago, a good friend of mine and me went to Chelmsford to play with some more friends and thought we hadn't played paddle for 10 years. We should play once, I think, in Canada. Just fell in love with it immediately, loved it. And on the drive back, we thought, hang on, there could be a business here. Sort of doing some research and start learning from there, really.
That's really interesting. I'll come back to that in a moment. Wes has alluded to some of the details of how to play and how the points are scored, but could you give us a little bit more about that and what leagues there are and stuff like that and how it works?
Yeah, so super easy game to play. As you've seen, the rackets are very easy, a bit like beach ball rackets. Very light, very easy to use. Varying prices, but you can, the barrier to entry is quite easy. You can't put your head through that.
No, you can't. No.
Maybe you'll put your head.
Yeah, probably.
But very easy to play, super social. From 6-year-olds to 60-year-olds, it's super inclusive. Leagues are being set up all around the country. There are around the world. There's about 4 or 5 leagues in the UK. None Oxfordshire specific. None are county specific. Albeit clubs in the county do their own thing within clubs. Currently in Oxfordshire, there's 2 clubs. There's a club called MVP Padel that have 3 courts in Hinksey Lane, so in Botley.
Yep.
And there's a club called Smash Padel in Bicester, which are indoor, great facility. Smash have run really well. I'm playing there tomorrow, actually. Great facility, great coaches, and it's indoor, and that's a big challenge, is getting courts indoor, because outdoor, with the wet, with the wind, with the sun, everything, it hinders play. So getting it indoors is pretty essential.
So Bisters's indoors, is Hinksey at North Hinksey?
Yeah, Hinksey's outdoor with no staff, and it's great there are courts, and it's great there's places to play. However, once the sport keeps developing, and as I think Wes said in his warm up to the whole sport, was it's growing, right? It's growing quicker and quicker, and the more you can get better facilities, people will play in those facilities. So if you can go indoor where the quality of play is better, that's where people will flock to. Smash have got covered courts. That's a big plus. My company is currently going through planning to do 3 fully indoor and 3 outdoor, so 6 courts altogether with 2 cricket lanes. So we've got a big project going on. That'll take time. But the thing is, we work really well with other paddle companies. Like, we all share ideas. We all want the sport to grow, so it's all quite beneficial.
That's quite interesting to hear, isn't it? Because having that sort of interaction with other associations in paddle tennis is massively important. You're all sharing the same goals, really, aren't you?
Yeah, hugely. And it's a funny one, because paddle is growing so quickly. There's a lot of money to be made. So some people are jumping in it for the wrong reasons. On the whole, it's great. Lots of clubs are opening around the country. Lots of money is going in. And so people are growing. Sometimes there can be this competitive nature, because they want to be the biggest or the best or the most premium, or whatever it may be. But we've been working on a platform, which I won't be with now, but we've been talking to lots of clubs, and it's been really interesting hearing each club's little USP. Some are focused on kids, some are community, some are indoor only, some are outdoor only, some are about tournaments, some are about rating systems. Everyone's got their own little niche, and they are all working together, even though sometimes there's a bit of rivalry. But that's the funny thing about the sport. When's the last time a new sport came into the country? Maybe squash 50, 60 years ago, yeah. And now the world's a completely different place. So it's super interesting to watch the market in every aspect.
Very interesting. Already I'm sort of engaged in this. What's the difference between indoor and outdoor? Is there a subtle difference in the game a little bit?
Yeah, the quality of play makes a massive difference. If there's a little bit of moisture, the ball, so the walls are glass. So if there's moisture, the ball will just go straight down from the glass. Yeah. When it's dry, it will bounce. So the less moisture you can have, the bouncier it is, and that's just where the fun is, right? It's just pinging around. Yeah. The rallies are really fun. When it's wet, you just stand at the back of the court, because if the ball hits the sidewall, you're in trouble. Yeah. So when it's indoor, it's great. I've got to the point now where I'm almost refusing to play outside. I will play for social, but if it's a serious match, I want to play inside. But a lot of the market is new to the sport and learning. So for them, outdoor is fine. I think as the sport evolves and the market evolves, indoor will take over. Look, it's huge in Spain, huge in South America, yep. Where it's hot, right? So it's okay. But they still build indoor. It's growing in Portugal, Germany, Italy, Sweden grew hugely during COVID. Had a bit of a tumble recently, just because I think they overexpanded, but it's coming back a little bit. But it's growing all around the world, and America is starting on it now, although they have pickleball, which is a whole another episode, I think we can do.
Yeah, pickleball. Yeah. Slightly different, but there's similarities.
Pickleball is just small tennis, effectively.
Yeah. And there's smaller balls for this as well, I understand. Is that right?
Slightly.
Massively. Not massively.
Slightly. Look, if you picked up a tennis ball and played paddle with a tennis ball, you'd be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
There are slight differences, but on the whole, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, and the weight's the same, presumably.
Yeah, again, slight difference, but it's pretty easy to play.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. Now, you've got these things happening around Oxfordshire at the moment. Is it? Can you get coached for it? Is there coaches around?
Yeah, 100%. In Oxfordshire, there's 3 really good coaches. One at MVP and 2 at Smash. 2 Spanish and 1 Portuguese. A lot of the coaches are from Spain or Portugal or those areas, just because they've been playing all their life. It's a bit like them playing cricket for 4 years, but the difference between someone like you, who has been ingrained in the sport all their lives, or 85 years, knows the sport inside and out and can understand the little nuances and the little differences. So I've had lessons with them, even though I'm not far off their ability. I've had lessons with them because they could just, I'm doing that, I should be doing that.
Oh, right.
It's just a small differences.
Slight differences, yeah.
So there are coaches, pretty affordable. I mean, they tend to do group sessions to make it a bit cheaper. We have a club in London, actually, not in Oxford, sadly, we're coming. But we have 3 coaches there who do some work in a lot of group sessions. People love it. It's cheaper, it's more social. I mean, that's the benefit of this. It's doubles only. There's no singles. So doubles only, so it's super social. You meet people the whole time. It is a barrier to entry because finding 4 people is not the easiest. I got a text from a guy who plays cricket at Oxford Downs this morning saying he wants to play, and we couldn't find a 4th. So there are barriers to entry. There are apps and software that are being developed to stop that and to make it easier, push notifications, for example, and being notified when you can play. So there are things developing. And actually, I think there's technologies in paddle that are coming that aren't in any other sport. Cricket and rugby, the classic team sports, haven't maybe caught up to, probably because they don't need to do it because there's such a high participation levels. It's the same with tennis. We're looking at handicap systems, right? So if I play you, we can have a handicap where I start -30 down, or I can't hit a smash out the court. Whereas tennis doesn't need to do that because it's got huge participation levels. So lots of things are happening with the coaches and the clubs to make life easier for all players and decrease that barrier to entry.
That's a really interesting point because you could fall out of love with the game if you're playing against somebody who's, miles better than you, and you think, oh, this isn't for me because I'm not doing very well. But if you have that sort of handicap, that's got a massive difference, isn't it? It's a really good thing to do.
Yeah, massive difference. And I think, look, if you're playing tennis, it can be quite hard when you're playing against someone who's not that good because it's hard to keep a rally going. With paddle, because it's a much easier sport, you can have that rally. You can still have a 20-shot rally, so it's much easier. So even the really good player playing with 3 not so good players, it'll still be fun because everyone's having a laugh. It's not competitive and it's just a bit of fun. Yeah. So I suppose it's a bit like Sunday cricket or Sunday rugby or stuff like that. You don't have to win. That's not the end goal.
No.
It's just participation, enjoyment.
Keeping fit, getting out there, meeting new people, having a bit of fun.
Yeah, and there's a lot of chat about mental health with paddle because of the social side of it. It's an hour and a half, 2 hours, super social. You can meet people easily and getting exercise.
So just remind me here, is it the score is the same as tennis?
Same as tennis, yep.
So are we looking at 6 sets, are we?
Almost exactly the same. You can play juice, you can play no juice. So once it's 40 all, you can say no juice. Right. And the receiver can choose who receives their shot. On the whole, pretty much exactly the same, yeah.
And umpires?
No umpires.
No umpires.
No umpires. At the top level, there are things in place for it, but on the whole, no. That we had the county championship in November.
Oh right, yeah, exciting.
Last November, and there was a debate during one of our matches. It was solved internally. Someone did come, but we solved it internally. So yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. So, is that another championship that will take place in November next year, or is there a league sort of set up that will take you through to that November bit?
We're hoping there will be another one. It was a huge success. A company called UK Padel did it. Great success. I think 24 counties were involved, something like that. I think we won 1 out of 4, but the other 3 were 7-5, 7-6. So all really close. Oxfordshire is new to the sport. London, especially Essex, has been playing it for 10, 15 years. It's been big in Scotland for a lot longer. So we're very new to it, and we don't have anything indoor, so the style of play is different. So it does take a bit to adapt. Yeah. I thought we did pretty well considering. And I sort of captained the team to find players, and it's been great actually exploring the players in Oxfordshire who can play. And we've actually, we found it hard previously to find players to play with, and it's really opened up a whole level of people to play. They're doing it over 50s soon. If you fancy it.
Over 60s.
It's over 60s. So that is happening, I think, in April. They will 100% do another one. I suggested doing a summer one and a winter one, whether someone's outdoor. But there are some big venues. Weirdly, in Bristol, 3 huge ones in Bristol have opened. I don't think they knew about each other when it happened, so we hope they'll still be there. Yeah. But there's only about 5 or 6 venues in the country that have sort of 8 courts. more coming. Those are the guys who've got a lot of backing and got money behind them, and it's great they're opening. We want more of these sites. Hopefully our site in Oxford with 6 is a big stepping stone. But it's a huge cost. Like the rents are crazy, or the startup costs are huge. So there is risk, and there will be a flow of companies getting involved and then dropping out. So we'll see where it is in 5 years' time. It will change in 1 year.
I'm sure it
Everything
will.
changes so quickly in the sport.
Yeah, I can imagine that, because it's so new. Things just evolve, don't they, as you go along.
That's it.
There was one thing you mentioned there about the stuff in London that you're doing. How's that run at the moment, and how many courts and so on and so forth?
Yeah, we just work with a gym. It's been really successful. It's about 95% occupancy rate. Members are actually getting annoyed they can't get a court anymore. So it's one of those good problems you have, but still a problem. We're hopefully opening another one in about 3 months' time in Canada Water in the city, and that's going to be 2 courts with 2 pickleball courts as well. And again, we've got Oxford hopefully going through planning now. We've got another one sort of south of London going through stages. So there's things going on. We're not a big company by any means. We don't have the big funding. We're trying to sort of get little deals here and there where we can. We're trying to use as much charm as we can to get through it. But there are lots of companies who we really like working with. And if their sites we can't afford, we'll push onto them because we want the sport to keep going, and we'll keep working with them, and vice versa. I think it's not quite right for them, they'll give to us. So we're trying to do stuff there. London is, obviously it's calling out for it. It needs 10 times as more clubs. People can't get courts. There's a 12-court site opening up in Ilford, which may not be a classic location for the demographic, but it'll be full. Especially on peak, which is your 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's filling off peak, that's tricky. That's same in all sport. Getting people to play sport from 7 a.m. till 4 p.m. is hard, and it's how you can reach out to people in the community. You need the retirees, the students, the working from home people, and the self-employed. You need their data. You need where they are, and get them into use courts.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned there about the players you were gathering for Oxfordshire. Were they from a paddle background? Was it a tennis background, or was it a different background?
Yeah, so out of our team of 6, 5 were European, and then from Spain or Portugal, and then it was me. So
okay, not many from Oxfordshire.
Yeah, well, they've been living here for about 5 years, so that was demographic. Yeah. So there's 2 others who would have played unavailable, 3 who would have played unavailable, who are all born in England. And bornish in Oxfordshire, but the levels are crazy. I mean, the guys who won that are pretty good. Then there's a level above that, which is the GB team, and then when they go to Spain, they're 450th in the country. So the levels are crazy. I've seen sort of 17-year-olds beat the top English players, and the talent is amazing. It's a bit like golf or cricket. You think you're a good cricketer, and you're playing Division 2 cricket in Chelsmford League, then you play someone from the home counties, then you play someone from a county, then you play someone who plays international, and then you play Jadeja and Stokes, and the levels that just go up and up and up. So I still watch it, and I'm amazed. And you know what, I watch a lot of the women's game, and it's incredible. So I really enjoy watching women's paddle, because it's not smash. A bit like tennis. I much prefer the women's game in that sense, and the technique is incredible.
Brilliant. There's a couple of things, just a plea out there, George. I mean, obviously, any backing that you're looking for, and how they could get involved in helping you, push paddle tennis on. Where should they get in contact with you?
I mean, we're looking help. All paddle clubs are looking for help in every aspect, whether it's solicitors helping with leases, whether it's landlords and real estate people getting sites, money in the sport, investors. We're always looking for that. We're always very careful with who we work with, but always looking for that sort of thing. So in terms of getting involved in that way, every aspect, if you want to play MVP or Smash, I mean, my advice is Smash has got a really great community. And that's close. I mean, the nearest place to them is Cheltenham, which is East Gloss Tennis Club. Then there's a club called Paddle for All in Swindon. And then there's a few in the Cotswolds, like Dalesford, have got some courts. Then going out, for me, the best facility in the UK is in Slough, weirdly. And it was a great venue. It's 6 courts, I believe. Great bar, great community. All the top players play there. We go down, we'll play. It's a bit more expensive, But we go and play there, and we know a lot of people down there. It's nice. You can have a beer afterwards. We usually stay for two or three beers, shandies, and then go home. But that's a great venue. But yeah, that's an hour and a bit away. If you want to play locally, as I said, you've got Bicester or you've got Botley.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And if anybody wants to get involved in paddle, you a good contact to have an altitude. So an email address, is that?
George at Padel People is our company, paddlepeople.co.uk.
George at paddlepeople.co.uk.
On Instagram, on our website, whatever, and we can point you in the right direction. We can whatever aspect you want to get involved in, we can point you in the right direction for sure.
That's fantastic. I just want to end on you, the paddle tennis player, as you kindly come in to us. Where are you ranking at the moment?
Well, it's not that high, I don't think.
Bad question.
Try our best, but there's some problems in paddle still with the rating system. There is no good rating system, which we are actually developing a system for, which we're going through and speaking to the clubs about to get something accurate. And there is no, we played in a LTA tournament, and we played the number 16 in the country and the number 22 in the country, and we lost 7-5, 7-6 in the first round. They then didn't lose more than 2 games for the rest of the tournament. And we get no points for that because we haven't won a match in a tournament.
Right,
so actually, we would have been in the final, but because of the draw. So there's issues in paddle at the moment, which is going to be worked out. So I don't really have a rating or ranking anywhere. And during the summer, I'm playing cricket, so I can't play in tournaments in the summer. Well, I'm trying to play cricket if I'm allowed, and so it's hard.
Can you play cricket?
So it's hard. It's hard to get a rating and ranking. It's something that's being worked on. So to talk about that stuff at the moment, it's just seeing people on court and speaking to the local pros, and that's the way to do it. Really is people have different versions of good, right? You can be at X university, just decide not to play tennis as a full-time career. You're good. You could be Mike playing with your wife once a week and class yourself as good. And that's very hard for paddle. And it's not like golf where you play around, you shoot 5, you play around, you shoot 25. You know your score, you know where you lie. Yeah. So there is a volatility level to be there. But that, again, another whole conversation for that, which probably don't have time for.
Yeah, that's fantastic, George. I'm going to wrap it up there, but fantastic insight to paddle, and thanks for joining us, and good luck for the future.
Thanks a lot.
And obviously the investment in Oxfordshire for paddle going forward. I hope you have huge success. And if anybody is interested in, whatever your age, whatever your ability, get along to one or two of those venues, because they'll be willing to see you and help you along the way in your journey in paddle tennis. But that was a really interesting piece. Thanks again, George, for joining us.
Pleasure.
Really enjoyed that. This is about 30 years too late for me.
It's easy. I'll get on court.
I'd love to play.
Tomorrow morning? I'll give you a call.
I'll be limping around, and missing the ball. But no, it's something I might think about that because it looks exciting and just great fun. Actually,
absolutely it is. Yeah.
So, our thanks to George Sandbach there for joining us on that piece on paddle tennis. That takes us on to our next piece. Our roving reporter Kim Fowler has been playing for Witney Hockey second 11 of late, and we haven't had any video highlights due to that. But this week we have got a bit of footage from their game against Reading 4th 11 this weekend, or last weekend I should say, and I'll just show you a little bit of the game, and I'll just talk you through their result as we go. This is actually away from home, and so that sort of scuppered their league position. I think they're now down to 6th position after that defeat 2-1 at Reading, who I believe, haven't got the league table in front of me, but I think they're second. So really good effort from Witney Hockey. We're going to follow them throughout their league season. They've got no game next week, but they have a week off, so they'll be back the following week and playing Milton Keynes. So we wish Kim and the team at Witney Hockey, second 11, or the very best. And the other thing I should mention about Kim is actually running the London Marathon, along with other people we know within the county, obviously. But she's going to give us a video diary of some of her training and some of her runs, and just give us a little bit of insight of how training works for the London Marathon. It's a big, massive thing these days, the London Marathon, so it'll be interesting to see her journey. And we'll get her in to talk to her about that journey before the event and after the event. So we'll get some good feedback from Kim on that journey. Patrick, you're back in.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice and slick, wasn't it?
That was slick.
Yeah.
That was slick. Good.
20 seconds.
20 seconds. We did well there.
It's almost like you never noticed.
Never noticed. Streamed.
Yes. So we'll go back to football now. After going around the sports a little bit, and there was some midweek action in the Southern League. We'll start with Didcot Town. They had a trip away at Hayes and Yeading, and actually got a really important win down there. They were 1-0 down at the break, but Robbie Gallagher and Luke Carnell both scored in the second half to see them to an important win, and in there, hopefully they can survive in that league. So I've got the goals for you now, and then follow that up with a interview with Jamie Heapy.
Wow, Jamie, what a performance. A fantastic fight back from 1-0 down, and a 2-1 victory, and a cracking result, and a deserved victory.
Yeah, I think so. I think we deserved it. After going a goal behind, a poor goal from our behalf, to be fair. Didn't really deal with the corner great, but again, the reaction from the boys, fantastic, you know. We stayed in the game, which we told them, stay in the game gives you a chance, and then the subs made a big part. Harvey and Tobias had real strong performances, I thought, when they came on. And yeah, I think we deserved the win, to be honest. I thought we played some good stuff at times. They were dangerous, you know, they got some pace in their team. They're like a threat going forward, but we defended well and we worked so hard without the ball. Robbie Gallagher was fantastic tonight, absolutely fantastic. And yeah, Luke scored again.
Yeah, 2 goals on Saturday.
4 and 5
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so no, it's brilliant.
And we were going to mention Robbie Gallagher. You took the words out of my mouth. An absolutely superb performance. He just never gives up, really. He turns defence into attack. He doesn't ever give up, and he's won the penalty. Without a doubt, a man of the match performance from him this evening.
Yeah. I think there were some real good performances, but Robbie, yeah, I think, you know, he plays his weight really well. You know, he's not the biggest, but he knows he can hold the ball up. He turns behind defenders. When we ain't got it, he harasses them and puts them under so much pressure. I don't think they can cope with it, to be honest. And tonight, I mean, the surface was good, really good, and Rob's low centre of gravity, I think, caused them a few issues. So, and like you say, penalty. Murph took his penalty brilliantly, considering I took Bards and Pat off. He both are normal penalty takers. So
I was going to say it was a penalty that even if the goalkeeper had gone the right way, I think they'd taken his hand off anyway.
Straight in the, was it top corner? Or,
yeah.
But here it was so much, venom. It was just a really good penalty, good strike, and then Lukey got the one, from a corner where we thought we could, with the goalie and the height we've got, and we just thought if we put a few on it, and we might get a bit of luck and a bit of joy from it, and thankfully Luke broke to him and smashed it in.
I'd called a goal from either Luke or Adam or Knight, thinking it was going to be a header from a corner, bit of a scramble at the back post, but I don't think Luke's going to care. It's a brilliant goal, and it's an important goal.
I think he got his knee shin or something straight at the back of the net, but no. Listen, we're chuffed to bits. Dressing rooms, we had a tough game Saturday down in Harrow. There's a bit of pressure on the boys trying to win the game, and they give me everything Saturday, and then I asked for it again tonight, and I'll keep asking it until the end of the season. So we'll keep fighting, we'll keep being us, like I say, and with performances like that, we'll give it a good go.
All the Hayes and Yeading people around me said it was totally deserved. You didn't look like a side at the bottom of the table. You played with confidence. You've got to go back to back now, haven't you? You've got to try and string some wins together because you're still at the bottom. Beaconsfield next on Saturday, back at the Luke Meadow Stadium. That's a really big game now. You need to put this behind you and then move on and try and get another 3 on Saturday.
You do. You have to. We'll enjoy tonight, but then the homework starts again, ready for Saturday. It's a big game again, I thought we were unlucky down there. We lost them 2-1 away, and it could have gone either way, really. But no, you're right. We need back-to-back wins. They're big. They're big. They make such a huge difference in this league. It takes you from where we are, bottom, to maybe third from bottom in no time. So, a bit like Hayes done. They won 4 on the spin, and they were down there with us, and it took them away. But we just got to keep chipping away, getting wins when we can, like you say, back to back, and then keep dragging them teams closer to us.
Yeah, it's 13 cup finals essentially. Really?
Yeah, it is. It is, and with the boys, I've got a good dressing room, and we're going to give everything we can to stay in this division. And if we can upset a few teams along the way, more the merrier.
Well, you certainly didn't look like a side that were bottom this evening, Jamie.
Thanks, Kieran.
Brilliant result, fantastic performance. I think I should come more often because I don't see you lose very often.
No,
going back to the FA Vars days.
Yeah.
Congratulations, great
Thanks,
win,
mate.
safe trip home, and good luck on Saturday.
Well, there you go. Kdog did appear on the show
he did get on
didn't he?
after all, yeah.
What's he doing with his headphones?
I don't know what he was doing.
On, off, wasn't they?
They were obviously uncomfortable or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear anything, that's what it was.
Yeah, probably. We'll go with that. There was one game on Wednesday also. Kidlington were in action at home against league leaders Bedford Town. It was actually stayed 0-0 for a long time in the last 10 minutes, and I think Kidlington would have been happy with a draw at home against the league leaders, but with 9 minutes to go, Connor Ferguson popped up and scored for Kidlington. I think what they described as a smash and grab win, almost a smash and grab on their Twitter if they'd gone on to win that. But that brief hope of a stunning win over the league leaders was kind of quashed a few minutes later as Bedford did equalise. But that was an important point for Kidlington in the Southern League Division 1 Central there in the league. Yeah.
We'll show some highlights now.
Why should people choose Kidlington over other 16 to 18 local programmes?
I think for me, obviously born and bred in Kidlington, an Oxford lad. The community is brilliant here. Obviously, myself, I'm going to be very, very involved in this programme. It's obviously something that I did when I was 16, and it really helped me start my journey and get me back into football. Obviously, alongside that, the education as well that you get during this course is obviously fantastic and can lead obviously different paths and avenues, whether that's universities or scholarships. So yeah, it's a brilliant course. Selling points and some of the perks of this course would be obviously myself and John Massigno are going to be heavily involved in this course. We'll be there to offer obviously guidance, offer sessions, offer any advice with our expertise in the football world. obviously you're going to be getting a great education through the course. We'll lead you on to different avenues, whether that's universities, scholarships, jobs, and yeah, hopefully lots of 16 to 18 year olds in the local area coming down and sign up for this course. It's going to be a great course to run.
Obviously, Colin Ryan was absolutely right. Me forgetting things. That wasn't the highlights of Kidlington's midweek game against Bedford, where they had a cracking 1-1 draw against top of the league. That was a really great result. That was a little bit of information from Matty Taylor there, the ex-Oxford United player, the current Forest Green Rovers player, that's heading up the Kidlington Academy. We wish them all the best at Kidlington. I hope Matty Taylor brings the best out of Kidlington youngsters going forward. So we wanted to bring you that last week. We managed to do that this week for you. So a little bit of information again about local football and where things are at Kidlington. So like I say, we wish them all the very best, and apologies for my mishap. It's me age.
We're just not supposed to play that into, are we? Like,
No.
get it last week and then introduce it wrong this week.
Absolutely. It's fated. It's fated, that one.
Yeah, so we switch sports now and we'll go to ice hockey. And Oxford City Stars had 2 games last weekend and they returned to winning ways on Saturday with a 3-1 win against MK Thunder, but did lose on Sunday away at Chelmsford Chieftains.
Oh, great name.
Yeah.
Great name.
Got to comment on that every week, haven't we?
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely.
But they're obviously flying high. So we've got some footage for you now from those games.
Penalty on the Chelmsford Chieftains, number 93, Daniel Hitchens, receives 2 minutes for slashing. Time of penalty, 15-25.
Yeah, so they're the goals from their game on Saturday. We don't dare try and speak over the ice hockey now, do we?
No, we're getting to know it a little bit more. We perhaps could do, but it's such a fast and furious game.
We should give it a go maybe next week.
We'll probably give it a go. See if we can. If the
set myself
highlights
up-
give us the chance, we'll definitely go.
I'm setting you up for that, aren't I? When I'm probably not going to be in the seat next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've got an interview with Shannon Taylor after that game for you here now.
Hi everyone, it's finished here, Oxbens Road in the Britain Cup. Oxford 3, Chelmsford 7, head coach Shannon. A very interesting game, great crowd. The crowd were into this after the first. First thoughts at the end of 60 minutes?
I'm disappointed, if I'm being completely honest. I think the first period was a fantastic example of what we can do as a club. We were 3-0 up and we had one of the better teams on the league on the ropes. And we've conceded 7 unanswered goals, which is really disappointing. Slightly short on bench, so I understand that a few of the guys were leggy as we were going into the second period, but some silly mistakes cost us. So yeah, fundamentally I'm disappointed in the result tonight.
I mean, let's look at the positives. I mean, to go 3-0 up at home, that must have been quite special to see as coach.
Yeah. So over the course of the weekend, we're starting to see things come together and we're starting to see things click. So, Milton Keynes are a much improved side. We beat them yesterday with 4 goals, which was really nice to see. And Chelmsford are no slouch. They're one of the top teams in the league, and they are for a reason. So we really played really well in the opening 20 minutes. I think we were unlucky to go back with 3-1. So we could have put them to the sword a little bit better, but ultimately good game in some respects, but disappointing in others.
I mean, what have you had to say to the players there at the end of the game?
It's just about some of the basic things that have let us down. So, I'll never begrudge a loss because I understand it's a sport and games get lost and they get won in equal measure. But there's a few things that were just silly mistakes and silly errors that cost us the game. So, when you're playing at this level of hockey, a silly mistake cost you a goal, and to be fair to Chelmsford, they punished us. So it's just about tidying up and being a little bit more intelligent with some of our very simple plays that we just weren't doing well enough.
Now looking ahead, because this is out of the way, it was a cup game. Now the team don't have a game for sort of 3 weeks. It's a bit of a bizarre situation as coach, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unusual, but in some respects it's a good thing. It gives us a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks even, to really work with the players and touch on some of those basic details that we need to make sure we get right in game. We need to also tinge this with the obvious. It is still a rebuild, okay? Whilst I obviously want to win every single game and I expect to win 2 points every time we play, I'm a realist. I know that's not going to happen, but I do know that we've got the opportunity now to put a few things right, and we go into the game in 3 weeks' time and hopefully with a better version of ourselves again.
And I'd like to finish off, Coach, just by sort of echoing what a lot of the fans have been saying in the stands. It has been a much more notable step up this weekend from the boys, so I know it's a disappointing result, but obviously well done to you and the boys. Keep plugging away, and we'll go again in 3 weeks.
No, thank you, and it's nice that the fans are starting to recognise that things are changing. Rome wasn't built in a day, but we'll get there. We'll continue to plug away, we'll continue to build, and we'll give our all every single week. So, no, thank you, and thank you to the fans for recognising some of those changes.
Nice one. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Shannon Taylor there, sort of reflecting on the weekend. I think it was a good one for Oxford City Stars, in fairness. I think to be 3-1 up against a side that are riding high in the table, I know it was a cup match, but it was a really good start. So, he alludes there that they're rebuilding, and I think they're doing a good job. And, again, the crowd, absolutely fantastic, over 500 there on Sunday watching that game. And that would have been quite exciting, no doubt. So, brilliant to see and hear. And an honest interview with Shannon. He came across as a really nice guy when he came in and spoke to us a couple of weeks ago. So our best regards and good wishes go to Shannon and the team for their little break that they have now for 2 or 3 weeks. They can get things together, as he mentioned there, and hopefully come back with a bang and get some results. Back-to-back results, I think, is what they're looking for there. And we wish them the very best of luck. That takes us on to Goal of the Week. We tried to show you this last week. It wasn't in a format that we could show you. It's from Deer Park Rangers. I think they're playing against Stonesfield. This is quite a quick clip, but it's one worthy of a Goal of the Week, and it's certainly worthy of going into our Goal of the Season competition, which we will eventually have narrowed down to about 10 goals, and then you can actually vote via the social media channels of which one you think should be Goal of the Season. So that's quite exciting coming up. We'll get the winner in and have a little conversation. So let's just show you the goal. I'll say it's quite quick. It's a great little turn, and it's got no chance there, even though he was that side of the goal. I think, worthy of going into the selection.
Absolutely,
of that. So again, as I said at the beginning, if you've got any sports, if you've got a goal from any league football, whether it's junior football, adult football, whatever, send it to us at oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com, and we will use it if it's a goal worthy of using, of course. So please do send us your clips. We are showing quite a lot of different sports on this programme. We've included another new one tonight. So, like I say, any sport you want us to show, please get in contact with us. And we'll be happy to either get you into the studio to interview you or do that on a Zoom link. We can do that also. But also just anything you want us to show, please send it to that email address again. I've said it quite a few times tonight, but it's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. I've been a real salesman tonight, Patrick, but really trying just trying to put the point out, that it's a show that is put together by volunteers, and we need help and we need footage. So please do send it to us.
We get yourself on commission, I think, don't you?
Yeah, must do. Get paid more than Dan then.
So So we're pretty much there with the football now. So just got one more thing after this, but we'll just have a quick look at all the results from football and rugby this week. Every week I think we always mention about the big results of the weekend, don't we? And I think unfortunately for once it was the second game in there, wasn't it? But obviously saw the highlights from earlier, so I don't know why I mentioned it again, really.
You put yourself through
my own fault there,
the
wasn't
angle
it?
again there, yeah.
So we'll finish off with a bit of rugby today, and Chinnor Rugby again played on Friday nights. They host Rosslyn Park. Fight to get to the championship, aren't they, I think?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was another big win for them. They won 31-10 to send themselves 4 points clear at the top of the National League 1. And we sent our cameraman Dan Smith along, didn't we? Yeah, to capture the footage, and we'll show you a package of what he's caught now.
Our thanks to our roving cameraman, Dan, for doing that piece on Chinnor Rugby's win on Friday night. Dan had a little bit of a mishap when he arrived at Chinnor Rugby Club. He slipped over in a vat of mud. It took them about 5 minutes to get him out. He sunk so much into the ground. Managed to get him out for him to film for us that piece. So thanks, Dan, for really braving the elements, because it looked a horrific night of weather. So we were blessed to get that sort of really good footage from Dan in Chinnor. Now, as you say, 4 points top, National League One. Fantastic. We will watch their progress with interest for the rest of the season and wish Chinnor all the best. We keep our fingers crossed that they can keep that form going and stay top. They've got a bit of a buffer now, so let's hope they can keep that 4 points ahead and go into the Championship. That would be amazing for Oxfordshire Rugby going forward. So again, I've said it a lot tonight, very best of luck to them in the next few fixtures. A few errors tonight. We should mention that Matty Taylor actually plays at Chelmsford Town, not Forest Green Rovers. I was corrected by our producer, thank you, Matt. And also the footage of Oxford City Stars was against Chelmsford Chieftains, where they lost 7-3. But
I'm sure we got a couple of things right, though.
I'm sure we got a couple of things right. Perhaps one thing right. But I think that just about wraps it up for this week. Patrick, thank you again for joining us.
Pleasure.
Sitting in for Kdog.
And hopefully he's fit and healthy next week, and he can be back here.
Speedy recovery. And Matt's shaking his head. He still wants you. He still wants you in the seat.
No, I just said he won't be. He won't be fit and healthy.
He won't be fit and healthy. That's true. So that was. He's still watching. Well, he might have turned off now. I don't know. But we do wish him a speedy recovery. We hope he's well. So Matt's nodding as well there, Kdog, just so you know.
It's getting a bit red, is he?
He probably will. But that sort of wraps up Ox Sports Unleashed for another week. The week that Ben Stokes received his 100th Test cap. Well done, Stokesy. Let's hope we can have a better performance tomorrow on day 2 down at Rajor in India. So
it's a good first hour, though, wasn't it?
Good first hour. Could have been better if we'd have taken Sharma's wicket. 40 for 4 might have been a different game. But that's cricket. You've got to take your chances when they come. But thank you for watching wherever you've watched us. Like I say, please join us again next Thursday, live in the studio on YouTube and Facebook, where we'll unleash some more Ox Sports. It's good night from me.
Good night.